Everybody, hello, it's CJ Miller. I'm in my kitchen, downtown Shreveport, across the Red River from beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. Hey, if you're coming through this area on your vacation and you need some suggestions on what to do, get in touch with me in the comments. I'll let you know. But what I have going on in this pot here, this is just something I'm going to do with leftovers. I've kept my leftovers from the holiday meal. And so what I've done is I've chopped up some celery, some onion, some garlic. I've sauteed them in the pan, chopped up the remainder of the ham off of my ham bone. I did have a few ham sandwiches off of this spiral ham, but then when I got into it, I just like chopped it down, and then a little bit of a broth made with chicken bouillon and water, and about half a stick of unsalted butter, and yeah. Uh, This is great. And so this is a holiday ham that we used. I normally don't like it, but it's going to work here. It's going to add some dimension. It's going to be really, really great. Some of the that cinnamon and brown sugar glaze, we used some of it on the sweet potatoes. We split the task because there's so much of it, and then we put some of it directly on the surface of the spiral ham. But most of that uh, baked away and was eaten away, and there's very little of that. But in this broth, I did put uh, what did I do? Um, black pepper and just various seasonings to which I like, and so it's great. And what we want to do is we want to cook this until the onions become like pretty much, uh, pretty much they want to lose that opaqueness, and we want them to become like translucent. The onions, and that way we will have rendered a lot of flavors from the onions that also have a nice sweetness, but a nice spicy, peppery sweetness. And we are doing this on medium high heat. I'm not blazing this up. For one thing, I'm in a non-stick pan, and the number two is I don't want to scorch the garlic bits. Scorched garlic will lose, well, the spiciness, the flavor will change, it will come bitter. And you can do that. You can use that quality of a garlic if you're counting on it, if you know what you want. Actually, just a touch of that garlic would kind of balance out any of the residual sweetness. Uh, but what we're going to do, or what I'm going to do, speaking like a psychiatrist, had a lot of therapy, right? What I'm going to do then is I'm going to take my leftover mashed potatoes. I'm going to save them, and there's a lot of them actually. Actually, because what happened was we had so many potatoes that I just decided, hey, let's have the potatoes that we do have, and when I have uh, boiled down these gold potatoes, what we'll do is I will save those for another time, and this is that time. So a couple of times maybe I pulled some of those out and just kind of like did like some like crushed potatoes with uh, a little butter, a little black pepper, or something like that. And that's basically kind of like a partially mashed potato without the cream. Uh, to blend it or whip it, and you just kind of like basically crush it and then put all the butter on it and stuff like that. It's really like almost like a baked potato, a texture of a baked potato. It's really good. Nice crushed potato, and you could add your stuffings on that or whatever. It's kind of like, think of it as like unbrowned home fries, if you will. Okay, so but what I did the other day was I did take those out and I did make a nice mashed potato with a white gravy. And so what I'm going to do now, the next day, because that's what I had yesterday, with some of what was the meal that I had with that? Oh, a meatloaf. I made a meatloaf. So we had meatloaf and a salad, and we had um, the mashed potatoes and white gravy, and some bread and stuff, for dinner. But so what I'm going to do this time, take this soup starter here that I've created, and then I'm going to gradually add in the mashed potatoes, until it comes to, I feel like the pot is at a good consistency. If I need to thicken it up, I've got some milk onto the side. But I'm also going to take the remainder of the white gravy, that nice flavorful, uh, and I'm going to put it in here also. I'm going to use those to make a nice thick potato soup. So stick with me. It's a very creative way of using some leftovers, you know. So we can see here that many of the onions have lost the solidity in their color, and there you can almost see through some of them. Let me see if I can find a good clear one for you to. I still want to cook a couple of them down, but it's. Uh, I had some here just a second ago. I wanted to demonstrate the color. But you know what happens when you do this and you cook it long enough? There we go. You want this onion to come clear. You want to be able to see shear through it almost. Like if I were to hold that up, I'd be able to see through it. Uh, so in about 60 seconds from this texture is when I'm going to go ahead and start kind of giving this a good stir. And about 60 seconds, I'm going to bring back the potatoes, the potatoes that I have mashed and ready, and I'm going to put them in here. Uh, and yeah, gradually add them uh, so that we get a nice creamy texture. And there we go. I separated it so we can get a good view. A nice, good, nearly see-through onion. You know, okay. Okay there. So, yeah, this large pot is going to accommodate the leftover potatoes that I had. So, at this point, I could take these out and mix them with a little bit of flour, just a touch of maybe one egg. If I wanted to take about half of this out and form them into little balls and then freeze them. And that way I would have little potato balls, you know, that later on I would roll in flour and drop them in hot oil. And it would be like a, you know, fried potato little things, a little fun little thing you could do. Also, you could take some of this out and use it as a stuffing for your twice baked potato. Little trick I learned working in a restaurant once. Do something along the lines of this, and then have your baked potato, you know, and then pull it out. And every time that you take a scoop out of this, take some of the scoop that you've taken out of the potato that you're gonna stuff or twice stuff or something like that, and kind of trade it. You know, it's kind of like, and then by the end of the night, if you're in a restaurant, you're serving several different people, you can do a lot of stuffed potatoes. You know, twice baked potatoes. What you would do is you do that, and then you put your cheese on it, and put it under your broiler so it gets a nice brown on that cheese. But we are making potato soup, and that means I take this gravy, this white gravy, milk based, obviously. That's how you get a white gravy. And then we're going to go ahead and pour an appropriate amount of liquid because we want this to be, you know, a soup. So we want to thin this out. And that's great. And what we're going to do is just going to stir this, give it a good stir, and then turn it to a medium to low heat and let it simmer. Let those flavors come together. Let those some of those veggies that might still be a little bit firm, we want them to soften up a little bit. Also, if you wanted to shred some carrots in here, you could. You know, this is any sort of aromatic vegetable would work in here. This this would work good if you wanted to take this, and then if you were a cabbage fan, you could add cabbage to this, potatoes and cabbage or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not the cabbage kind of guy, you know, myself, but it could work. You know, before this gets too warm, If you wanted to strain some of this off, set it aside, say in a little container or something like that, and refrigerate it. Uh, and then you could serve it as a cold soup, like a fishy schwa or something like that. At some point, when you want a soup, I guess, and it's too hot for like a hot soup, a good cold soup. A lot of people in the South do like a fruit soup or watermelon soup or something. I'm not really that kind of a guy, but I could go for a, um, a cool fishy schwa, which is it's served cool. Uh, that actually um, is a soup that I want to say it came from Belgium or somewhere, but somewhere it sounds very French. Uh, but basically, it's just a cold potato soup. It became really famous from a guy who was, you know, quite a reputable chef in New York. But what really got him, what really did well, was he started serving this recipe that his mother did, just a cold soup. Probably just like probably something that she pulled together back in the old days and old days, and she was probably just like, I don't care if it's cold, eat it, to the kids. And it became like a thing, like something that she probably threw together when she was in a rush, and maybe it didn't have time to get all warmed up or something like that. But still, whatever, still was creamy, textured, and great and everything. But what you would want to do is maybe strain off some of the aromatics because a hallmark of a good fishy schwa is that it's creamy and smooth, Whereas this particular, even the potatoes, I left a little bit lumpy because I like texture in my potatoes. And that was the leftover. You can imagine what they were, how big they were when I started with them. So, okay, we'll check back with this in a little bit. Okay, to add a touch of heat, I did decide to swirl in just a little bit of spicy chili blend. But this is going to stir right into this, and by the time it's incorporated, you won't really see uh, these the red from the from it because it's going to fold right in once it gets. So it's very. I just put just a shake enough onto just enough to get the surface done, and then we're stirring it in. And then what I'm about to do is I'm about to let this simmer with the lid and low heat, probably for about a good hour, maybe even longer, depending upon how I feel. I just want a really good incorporation of all these flavors. I don't mind in this case if there's a lot of butter, and I don't. This is butter floated on top of watery chicken stock or chicken bouillon, basically. So it's not going to be a total incorporation. There will be some separation. I don't mind that. That kind of looks like a good rustic homemade soup anyway. Uh, and this is not too far from an Italian uh, potato soup. Uh, that would have a lot of leeks, and I would have bacon instead of the ham, and then maybe some sausage or something like that. You know. And let me see, do I have some sausage I want to add to this? Why not, huh? No sausage, but that's okay. This is going to be a very hearty soup anyway. I've already tasted it. It's really good. It's right where it needs to be. I just want to put this in here. It's very hard to just not just eat this thing right now. For one thing, I'm a little hungry, and number two, it smells so good, But let's go ahead, remove this, and then put a lid on this sucker. Get us to a good simmering warmth, and then the lid is going to hold some of the heat in there also. So, oh yeah, my thumb. To be careful. The other day, I had like a hangnail, and I clipped it a little bit to the quick, so I'm cool. Okay, so um, that's it for this. This is just going to simmer here. When it's done, uh, put a little garnish on it. Top it with the cheese of your choice if you'd like, or whatever. Good cuddly, bundly soup uh, for the cooler weather. Okay, love and light. Peace. Bye.